All right, we're gonna take a look at the silliness of this political debates. So let's get right into it.
With us now is former Massachusetts Democratic Governor, that's Deval Patrick. Former aides to President Obama encouraged him to run for the Democratic nomination this year. Wonder how he feels about that now. We'll ask him in just a sec. He has said no, citing, quote, the cruelty of our elections process and how it could affect his loved ones. Patrick is now managing director at the investment firm at Bain Capital. From what we hear, doing very well, but right
Look at this dude. Does this look like a serious person to you? Let's go.
now he's joining us at the table. Good to see you,
Good
Governor
morning. Good morning.
Deval Patrick. We'll talk about your regrets or non-regrets a little bit later, but let's talk about the exchange between Kamala Harris and Senator Biden.
Yes.
How critical do you think
See the symbolism? Just pay attention.
it was for both of their campaigns?
Well, it's a moment, and it certainly
Again, symbolism over the shoulder. Pay attention.
was a dramatic one. What I appreciated about it, and what I think struck so many, is how personal Senator Harris was in describing the issue and the impact on her and her family. I think she was also quite respectful of the vice president.
First of all, this is nonsense. These political debates are nonsense. No one is gaining anything of value from these political debates, all right? So if you want to waste your time, that's fine, but don't pretend like there's something of value in that.
President's record on civil rights and discrimination generally. I know them both,
These people who claim to have a conscience regarding civil rights and social justice, you need to understand they're bought and sold. They're playing a part, and it's not a part that's being played for your benefit, okay? These people have corporate interests. They're tied. They're bought. You got to understand. Look at the trends. Don't worry about what you hear from an individual. Look at the trends and see why everyone's falling in line. Let's continue.
Agree with Senator Harris that Vice President Biden is not a racist. I was surprised about how
And it's always about race, okay? They're fueling this race tensions like they always have, but they're fueling it back up again because it's a very divisive tool to break people apart, and that's what they need when they want people to participate in these elections. So let's go.
awkward or uncomfortable he seemed in answering the question, because he's answered the question many, many times over
Well,
the
many
years.
people thought he should have
This
been
dude's
better
adding
prepared
nothing
because he
of
certainly
value.
knew that it was coming.
Yeah. Well, I suppose that's true, and it's hard to be prepared for everything. But the fact is, and we were talking about this a little bit before coming on camera, there are lots of progressive Democrats and liberal-minded people who are uncomfortable with busing and were at the time. And I think one of the reasons for that, having been involved in some of these issues in prior lives, is that in many respects we sent the kids in to do what the adults wouldn't do. We sent the kids in to integrate the schools because the adults wouldn't.
Yeah, you're right. The older generations often use the younger generations for things they do not want to do. Take a look at the military. It's evil. Let's go.
Integrate the neighborhood.
Yeah.
And sooner or later, we are going to have to confront the bigger question about the importance of learning to live an integrated life.
Yeah.
The importance of that for the survival of our democracy and the success of our society. And the question is, where do you learn that?
Yeah.
In school, in the neighborhood, in the university, and in so many areas that's been under attack.
Are you satisfied with Vice President Biden's answer on the busing question and the way he
What
responded
difference does it make?
about segregation to
Okay,
senators?
so what people care about is how someone can satisfy the answer to a question. Okay, this is how politics been played for the last, over the last century and before. Ever since these elections have been taking place, it's all about asking people questions. Questions don't mean anything. Actions, okay? What have these people done for anyone besides themselves?
Well, I don't think his answer last night was as good as the answer he has, as a sort of a performance matter. Again,
Yeah,
as a moment.
okay.
I think
It's a
his
distraction, people.
comments that were quoted from I think it was a fundraiser, about working with segregationist senators may have been a little a little too much given the time and given the. But I think the point he was making is if you want to get things done in Washington, you have to be willing to work with people who don't agree with you on everything.
Yeah.
And there
Ain't nothing getting done in Washington except for the plans of the people who control the world to be put in place while everybody else is dumbed down and distracted.
is a value in a politics that says we can work together on some things without having to agree on everything.
You know a thing or two about healthcare. As governor, the model for Obamacare was actually implemented in Massachusetts.
Right.
Given what you know, do you
Look at
think
this
this
dude's eyes.
Medicare
What's wrong
for
with
all
this guy?
idea can work politically or practically?
Well, I have to tell you, Tony, I kind of hear Medicare for All as an all-encompassing slogan, meaning it captures in an oversimplified way in some respects a lot of different nuance among the candidates and the
Look at
campaigns.
this dude, no straight answer from this good dude. Just talking a bunch of wordplay.
Personally, I think the idea of Medicare being available for everybody is a fabulous idea. The idea of Medicare being required for everybody is something I'm less warm to.
What struck you about the difference between the two debates? Because I know you know many of the candidates who were up on the podium. What struck you?
Who
Well,
cares?
first of all, I was struck by what I have always sensed, which is that we have a remarkably rich and talented field of candidates. It doesn't bother me one bit that there are a lot of them.
You wish you were there?
Yeah, were you struck by the possibility you could beat all of them?
No, that's not how I was thinking about it. Although when I was thinking about it many months ago, one of the questions was, how do you break through
Right.
in a field this large and this talented without being a celebrity or or sensationalist? And I'm none of those things.
But
I don't.
So they're basically bringing this dude forth to kind of get people's interests built up in this political debate. It's a waste of time. Just look into the political system, look into the way government is organized and ran, the corporate interests, look into the control structure that it is. And yeah, I just wanted to show you guys that real quick of the ridiculousness of these political figures. All right, so I'll catch you guys next time. Y'all take it easy.